There we are. In times of crisis, the wise build bridges while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. T'Challa, Black Panther, from the Black Panther movie. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing okay. Wherever you are in the world, I know Marv is out enjoying a beach this morning, along with his lovely wife. So we wish them well. There's my official notification that we are actually alive and well. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. This is the Sunday Funnies. It is Sunday morning here where we are. We don't know what it is where you are, but you are welcome to listen in. We are here to talk about the more finer and fun parts of sequential art and comics, the more whimsical, the more lighthearted. And we're going to run our opening here in just a minute. We have a green room full of guests and co-hosts. Some you've met before, some you haven't. And we will all be talking about their books. There's so much stuff to cover. So hang on, we're going to run the opening and we will see you on the other side. It's a short one, so hang on. There are so many different avenues of comics other than the current dark and dismal, uber realistic books, the propagandic pieces. And we wanted to do a show here on the Indie Volt channel where we covered the more lighthearted works, the more entertaining works, the works that some are old, some are new. There's so many modern comics now that are coming out that aren't your typical crowdfunded book. And I think that's a natural reaction to the material that's currently in the mainstream. And we are happy to have a sampling of those, especially today. I love to cover the comics that run from the beginning of when comics were created all the way up until when the realism and the darkness really started in. Comics don't always have to be realistic. In fact, the ones that made the most money were the ones that were the most whimsical, the most funny, the crazier ones. And sadly, a lot of those are missing nowadays. And we sometimes will be bringing that back to you. And other times we'll be talking about some great crowdfunding campaigns, which is what we're going to be doing today. I think everybody here has a crowdfunding campaign that's going or in demand, and they're all not your typical fare, but they are all incredibly entertaining in many different ways. So with me co-hosting today is Mr. Rob Anderson. Rob, how are you?
How you guys doing? Like Randy said, we're just here to have fun and tap into that childhood love of comics.
And before we go on, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Randy Zimmerman. I've been doing comics for a long time, done just about everything in the direct market that you can imagine, including distribution and retailing for many years. I'm currently an award-winning commercial and graphic artist whose main specialty is sequential art for advertising and educational purposes. So I've done a lot of different titles, done a lot of different genres, and read a lot of comics ever since I was a kid. So Rob, introduce yourself.
I am the creator of Cat Dad and Supermom. Very proud of that work. I was super thrilled to have the artist with us here today. You guys are going to meet the amazing co-creator here behind what is Cat Dad and Supermom. He's inspired the creation of the character Ella Fart. He's been a great help, and I'm super proud of having a book that is for the entire family, like Looney Tunes used to be, where you could sit down with the whole family. The adults got a few of the jokes and the kids got a few of the jokes, and everyone enjoyed their time together. I think comic books can be fun and actually still teach a message. Wow, imagine that. Morals with farts. So that's who I am.
From the chat, everybody, come on in. You're welcome to participate in the chat. Sarah says, good morning. Good morning, Sarah. Glad to know that you're listening in. Marv says that he'll be home in about 10 minutes. And he hopes everybody's doing well. So they'll see us in a bit. Marv went to the beach this afternoon. It's afternoon where Marv is. He's on the wonderful coast of Portugal. So we talked to Marv on Thursday morning about his great book Sin Killer, which is a little bit more serious than the type of work that we want to cover here, but it still looks really good. Aaron Marshall says, "Good morning, gentlemen." Good morning, Aaron. Thanks for being aboard. Thanks for listening in. And right now, I guess we can jump to our first guest. I was going to bring Mr. Gary Henderson on first to talk about John Celestri. Says, "Good morning, John. John, I should send you a link so that you can come in here in a little bit, maybe after you have some breakfast, and you can talk about your campaign as well. John's got a very important campaign that just isn't getting enough attention, in my opinion. It's a great book. We probably should have run some sort of disclaimer, but I don't think I've even grabbed it over here to this side. We just want to point out that we are MATV DLSV. We encourage you to like and share, and you can always contact us at indievoltlive@indievolt.com. Make sure you put Sunday Funnies in the subject line so that we know it's about this show. If there's anything that you want to see, anybody that you want to talk to that would fit this criteria, we would love to have those on, have them on, and have them available to you, or talk about whatever comics that you want to discuss that fit the more lighthearted and whimsical side, because as Keanu says,
comics are awesome.
Comics are awesome. All right, out of the green room, we're going to bring forth Gary Henderson. Gary, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you guys doing today? Thanks for having me on. This is awesome.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. Gary does a book entitled Pyramid Nights. I have a copy of it. Do you currently have a campaign running?
No, I am working on one though, and I'm also working on a website. I'm finally getting to that.
Okay, got another issue coming out soon?
Yes, I have issue 5 being printed right now, and I'm working on issue 6, and that's going along very well. I'm almost done with that, and I also have another series based on the Pyramid Nights that actually goes with book 2 and book 6. It's called the Last Pyramid War. And I wanted to do explain what happened and why there's only one living pyramid left in their part of the universe.
Well, tell our listening audience what Pyramid Nights is all about.
Well, it's loosely based on the mystery of all the pyramids and who built them and why they're here. The Pyramid Knights are warriors for the Pharaoh of Time, and they're the protectors of the last living pyramid. There were 12 pyramids that left the mother world because of unrest and discrimination and all that we have today. And because of the last living pyramid, there's only one living pyramid left, and the Pyramid Knights are sworn to protect that pyramid from any and all those that wish to destroy it or whatever. And so the first book explains pretty much their part of the universe, and what happens in this book is that 12 Pyramid Knights are sent into the Forbidden Zone area of the last living pyramid. There's been a breach in there, and the Forbidden Zone has been sealed off for centuries, so nobody's been down there since they left the mother world. And so they're sent in there to find who's ever breached the realm of the Forbidden Zone, and to bring them back to justice before they're pharaohs. So the book all focuses pretty much on 3 main characters. They are Brenner, Sheba, and Cabby. They're the best of friends, and what they find in the Forbidden Zone is more than what they can than what they would could imagine. And and they do find the intruders, and a battle ensues. And one of the intruders, he's actually, I call them the Pyramid Knights, but their alien name is the Barians, and let's see, they're like pawns for the Dragon of the Black Pyramid and his dark prophets, and they do whatever they want them to do. They're on a dragon quest to destroy the last living pyramid and the Pharaoh of Time, so they can take control over what happened in the past and what's happening in the future.
Gotcha.
So it's like a time travel kind of book too. I always loved time travel. It always fascinated me, and sometimes, you know, you look at the ancient Egyptian. Well, it's like ancient Egypt. You know, the ties that my characters in their realm is about, but they don't call it Egypt. They call it Eden, and the planet itself is called Eden. And the Egyptians, they don't call them Egyptians. They call them Edenites. You know, because they left this world, the mother world, which is actually Earth. They left this world long time ago, and that's what the planet used to be called to them back then. So that's pretty much what it's about. And near the end of the I won't give the whole story away, but near the end of the book, one of the Pyramid Knights, his name is Brenner, has led up to this giant stairway where there's like a glowing prism, and it's actually called the Prism of Time. And one of the Barians leads him up there because he knows the legend of the Pharaoh of Time, and he knows that through the Dragon of Black Pyramid that Brenner is actually the Pharaoh of Time, and he gets him to touch it. They travel back in time to the mother world, ancient time, and there the Barian separates from Brenner, and Brenner finds himself in front of the Temple of Isis, and he meets Prince Caffrey, who is an Egyptian. He's the prince of the Pharaoh Khufu, and we all know who Khufu is. He's the builder of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. And what happens is Pharaoh Khufu is he's like a worshiper of the Dragon of the Black Pyramid, because the Dragon of the Black Pyramid actually originates from Earth, and so doesn't the Black Pyramid. And Khufu
now looking at your book,
yeah,
your characters are very anthropomorphic.
yes,
Was that a conscious choice that ties into the story?
yes, they're actually descendants of the Egyptian gods.
Okay.
And the hippo, you know, they look like hippos because they're descended from the Egyptian god Tararet, which is a hippo god. But I'm going to introduce other characters also that are descendants and other Egyptian gods. But the story's not about the Egyptian gods. It's basically about the Pyramid Knights.
Sweet. And you're working on issue 6 now.
Yes, and
Okay.
the Last Pyramid War also. So that's another book, which will be a limited series related to this story.
Cool. And when are you thinking about doing that campaign?
Actually, I was gonna start. Believe it or not, I was gonna start working on it today.
Okay.
I'm not working until 4, and there's nothing to really do today on this Sunday. So I'm almost done with the website. I started that last week, and I didn't think it would actually take me this long, to be honest with you.
Oh.
But yeah.
Now, if you're like me, anytime you schedule out a time to do a project, it takes twice as long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So any any hints or any thing you can tell me about a crowdfunding campaign, like who to go with? I know that's not part of the show, but
Well, Rob would be a good one to pick his brain with. He's done a number of different crowdfundings. I haven't done one yet, but I do plan on doing one before the end of the year. I'm working on my book right now.
Oh, awesome. So. Yeah, I want to do that because right now there's no cons, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't get my books out there like I want to, and and there's a lot to read now, and
Yeah.
there's a lot to tell in my books, and a lot of people at the cons, they come back more than once and pick up like say they picked up my first issue and they read it, they loved it. Now they want the other issues or issue 2, and
Sure.
I can't be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where can they find them? Can they order them from you?
Yeah, they can order them from me on my Facebook page and my Pyramid Night Facebook page. They can message me and order them from that. And they can also, when my website is up and running, it will be thepyramidnights.com. That should be up in like maybe a day or so.
Cool. Well, I hope you get it up soon. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you sent me a set of the books. I read them and thought that they were really good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So
It's a
you
lot
can
of work, you know.
you can see a great. Oh yeah. Well, putting together a comic always is, but you can see the evolution of your work. The farther along you go, the more you do, the better you get. It's just like doing anything.
Right.
You know?
The first 2 books I did myself, the whole thing. You know, well, I'm still the writer, but I did all the art. I did all the editing, the lettering, everything, and
Sure.
it was a learning process, you know.
Oh yeah, always is.
And but after the second book, I wanted to have someone come in that has better dynamics and better can show better body language with the characters and that, you know. And his name is Savvy Lim, and he's from Florida. He does all pretty much the breakdowns and everything for me, and I'm still doing, you know, a lot of the artwork too. You know, I'm doing the inking and the coloring and that.
Sure.
And my the Last Pyramid War book is being drawn and inked by a gentleman out of Poland.
Really?
Yeah, I saw his artwork on Facebook, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. You know, his style is like almost like a Disney style and anime at the same time.
Wow. Yeah.
And if I could say his name, bear with me here. It's hard to say his name. It's Przemysław Dedalus. That's his name. It's spelled Przemyslaw.
Treslasaw?
Yeah, is that how you say it? Okay.
I'm just guessing.
It's pretty bad. He's my artist, and I can't say his name, you know. And it's also being colored by a woman out of, she's a great artist, color artist out of the Philippines. And her name is Lizel Benisventura. And
Okay.
I saw her, the way she colors comics and everything else that she does with her work, and I'm like, wow, this woman's good. I got to get her on board too, you know. And so they're helping me. I'm pretty much just writing and lettering the Last Pyramid War.
Well, you're editing and you're overseeing the project too to make sure that it's what you're after. Right? Yeah.
Right. I have to send them
don't undersell yourself.
Thanks. I have to send the artist a script of how I want each page.
Yeah.
And that's hard as it is, you know, because I don't have all the dialogue yet or anything. Because I'm always changing the dialogue as I go along. Because sometimes, you know, you think, well, would he like? I know the characters by now in both books. I'm like, well, why?
Sure.
What would they say? Would they actually say what I just wrote down, or would they say something else? You know.
Right.
So that's how that is.
And you never know when you get the artwork back that the expressions could be overemphasized, or you could always get some other additional hint to spice up that dialogue from the artist. It works real well when you do that.
Right. I want you to be able to actually follow the story by the artwork without reading what's going on also. So there's 2 parts to tell a comic book or my comic book. And that's by the artwork and by reading the story. Right.
Sure. That's all part of sequential art, getting the picture and the prose, the words to work together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it took me years to, like, I've been drawing the Pyramid Nights and creating the Pyramid Nights for like 30 years. And the first book I did was honestly the hardest book ever because I wanted to give the characters different personalities. I wanted to give them a reason to be who they are, and a reason to why they are doing what they're doing,
Sure.
and give them a great opponent or an enemy, or what do you want to call it, to
Adversary. Yeah.
yeah, an adversary, and give them a great mystery, and that, like, that's why I love the pyramids. There's so much mystery around the pyramids. That's why I'm using that kind of
Sure.
so,
And again, that's the Pyramid Nights. We're talking to Gary Henderson. He is available on Facebook under Gary Henderson, and the Pyramid Nights has their own Facebook page. He has 5 issues, right? 4 issues
I have
under your belt.
I have 4 issues printed right now.
Okay.
The 5th one's being printed as we speak. It should be
Sweet.
here next week. And
Awesome.
on page 16 of the book 6, and page 16 of the other book, The Last Pyramid War.
That's great. Yeah.
So it's coming along. It's cost me a fortune, but it's coming along.
Well, everything is,
Yeah.
everything is an experience, and your time especially costs a lot. But also, you've done a couple of books. You got in there. You got into the mud. You did your own work. You figured out, I'm really good at this. I'm not really good at that. And you had enough sense to go out and decide that your property needed to be tuned up, and go out and find other people to help you out and help build up that book in order to make it more appealing for higher sales. And I'm willing to wager that your book's just going to be on a big upswing from this. It's a great concept. It looks good already, and bringing in more people is just, especially talented people, is just going to spice up that title even more. So
Right. I did a lot of research too for an artist for The Last Pyramid War. I looked at a lot of people's artwork, and I found, like, my book's supposed to be for all ages, and I wanted someone who's not too gritty or gritty at all with how they expressed my characters, and Mr. Dieterlis is like the perfect candidate for my work. So
awesome.
that's why I hired him. Yeah. So the Savvy Lim too. He's like, he's really good at body language and this and that, facial expressions.
Right.
He understands where the book's going because he's been working with me now for the last 4 issues.
Sure.
And it's more, that book is more like 80s style, cartoonish, which is fine because that's what I grew up reading, and that's the kind of style I like. But The Last Pyramid War, I wanted to give it more zest, and with the colors and the way the characters are drawn in that too.
Right.
So
yeah.
So it's an evolution, like you said. It's an evolution of
it
of
absolutely
comic
is.
work. Yeah.
Yep. And some of the best comic strips out there, some of the best books out there are the ones that you get to see that kind of evolution.
Right.
And getting in there, like I said, getting into the mud, experiencing all of the jobs that you had to do, because I'm sure if you're like me, you wanted to keep it a very personal work. You wanted to do everything yourself to start with. And then once you do a couple of issues, you go, you know what? I'm not that great doing this. I'm going to go out and find somebody to help me. I'm not that great doing, like you said, with your colors. Somebody's colors that you see online, so much better, so much nicer.
Right.
A quick exchange of emails and boom, and now that we have the internet, everything can be done electronically and just sent over the net to everybody. So it's
right.
Go ahead.
Everything I do is on my iPad now.
Yeah.
So much easier. I can bring my art with me wherever I go. Like say I'm at a doctor's office or whatever. I can sit there and keep going on my project. And so I think electronically and technologically, if I said that word right,
yeah,
everything's so much easier now. It's I remember having this big desk, all this paper, all these pencils and markers everywhere. And,
oh yeah.
And everywhere I went, if I was gone for so long, because I'm very passionate about this book, I'd be like itching to go home and draw. I'm like, I gotta get home. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I sit there for
exactly
hours
what you mean.
Hours. Yeah,
yep.
Hours.
I don't think there's anybody here. Even though the ones in the green room are all shaking their head, going, "Yep, we know exactly what you mean." Yep.
Yeah, and I had tons of what do you call it, whiteout too.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes,
heck yeah, white paint, yeah.
yeah, I
Yep.
I'd use an industrial sized brush sometimes on my work to fix what I messed up or whatever. But
I hear you.
yeah, it's great. It was fun. It's a great experience. It's something that I would always love to do since I picked up my first comic when I was a kid, and
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, this stuff is awesome. I got to do this. I can draw.
Sure.
So
Yep.
that's why I'm doing this.
Gary, we're going to move along, but I really want to thank you for coming on. You're welcome to stick around if you
Oh,
want.
yeah.
We can have you in the room, but and you can, contribute whenever you feel the need. But we wish you the best of luck on Pyramid Nights. That's available on face. You can get a hold of Gary on Facebook. Again, that's Gary Henderson. Friend him on Facebook. Get ready for his campaign as soon as it comes out. He's just starting to make it now. Get ready for pyramidnights.com up online. If you follow him on his Facebook page, I'm sure he'll tell you as soon as his site's up and available. Get his book, and like I said, watch his evolution. It's well worth the time.
Thank you very much.
All right, Gary, hang on. We're gonna we'll keep you here on the main page and just bring other people in. All right.
Sounds great.
Okay. And again, that was Pyramid Nights, Gary Henderson. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Right now, I want to bring in Daphne. Daphne Lage. Oh, Daphne has a bird behind her in case you hear an odd noise. Gary, I'm going to mute you most of the time because your microphone is getting a little click back that I keep hearing.
Okay.
All right. If you want to say something or need to contribute, just wave.
Okay.
And I'll be real happy to bring you back in. But right now I'm hearing a lot of outside clicking. I'm pretty sure it's you.
Okay.
All right. No offense, but sometimes the equipment, especially when you're on a large stream like this, gets a little tricky.
All right.
All right. Daphne, how you doing?
Good.
You've only been on, but 3 other times before, and this is only our 4th episode.
Yeah, well, time flies.
Well, introduce yourself.
It's like, hi, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist hailing out of New York. I am the artist of the funny animal fantasy comic Tall Tales. The series spans more than 20 issues, and you can check out my work at talltalesonline.com. That's Tall Tales, TALLTAILS online.com, and my YouTube channel at Daphne Lage Art.
Okay. And you also have a current Kickstarter campaign.
Yes,
right?
that one is very different to Tall Tales. I'm not going to get into too much detail of it. It's a sketchbook called House of Bob, HAUS, because I have to spell everything weird. It's a 24-page sketchbook featuring uncensored furry erotica, which is very different from the Tall Tales book.
Not for kids. Not for
kids. No, this is definitely for viewers 18 and up. If you, for those of you wondering what that has anything to do with comics, my sketchbooks, my side projects like the sketchbook help me make comics. It helps fund my comics. So buy my sketchbook so that you can see more comics. So if you go to Tall Tales,
and it still has your artwork in it too.
Yes, it's all my artwork in it. Yes. And there's a link to it at talltalesonline.com. So right now, Tall Tales Online is kind of like my hub. So the link to the Kickstarter is there and all my other social media.
Awesome. Okay. And I think we'll just keep you on the main page as well.
Okay, sure.
That's all right. Unless you wanted to talk more about Tall Tales or let anybody know what that.
Well, that's up to you.
Want to give a quick rundown of Tall Tales? I know you've
sure.
been doing it for years. So
yeah, exactly. And there are people hearing about it for the first time. So,
absolutely.
So Tall Tales is a multiple issue fantasy adventure for ages 13 and up. It features funny animal characters in the style of Lord of the Rings meets Disney's Robin Hood. And it's written by J.D. Calderon, and I'm the illustrator, apparently, obviously. So it starts off with, I'm sorry, that's the smoke detector, right? So Ravenwood is the main character. He's a fox knight, along with his companions, Pandora, a cat shield maiden, Clea, a cat sorceress, Silvermane, a monkey thief, and Gabriel, a panda bard, and Ralph, a porcupine sorcerer. So it's like I have like a good mix of animals in there. So these are friends and warriors that are sent on a quest by their benefactor, the wizard owl Hullux, to find and bring back the fabled Great Seal of Iberion, a powerful magical item that was stolen from him by unknown thieves, hence the name of the story arc, which is Tall Tales Thieves Quest. The Tall Tales is actually 3 story arcs, and right now I'm working on the second story arc. But everything gets established in the first story arc, which is Tall Tales Thieves Quest, which is the 20 issues. Right now I'm working on Tall Tales Tears of the Mother, which is an 8-issue direct continuation of that story. Except right now that is exclusive to my Patreon, which again, you can find the link at talltalesonline.com. And it only becomes available to the public once I make it available on Kickstarter. So I'm working on issue 6 right now, and I'm looking to have that ready somewhere at the beginning of 2021 for kickstarting, for crowdfunding.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just working to pull up your site.
There
we go. Whoops.
Yeah.
Trying to get in. There it is.
Yeah,
There's
there
a
we
sample
go.
of
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Daphne's art.
Yes.
Probably. Go ahead.
And there's the link to the other Kickstarter, which, like I said, is completely different from Tall Tales. It's just to make it easy for everyone to find it, because I'm sending everybody to this website.
House of Bob, and then you put a picture of all of your covers together.
Yes, it's 31. It's 31 covers so far, which doesn't sound. Sorry, which doesn't sound like a lot until you do the math, and it's just the covers represented on this graphic represents a little under 1,000 pages worth of comic book work.
Gary, did you hear that? She said 31 issues doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about that, bud?
Oh boy, I don't think I'll live long enough to do that.
You never know. Let's hope you do.
Well, I mean, it's like it's like the standard is Cerebus, and that's 300 issues.
No, you're taking that absolutely wrong.
Right? Yeah, I know he's an outlier. He's an outlier.
The bar is Cerebus.
Right.
And that's 300 issues. A lot of us will never get that far.
Yeah, no. He's an outlier, but it's fun to compare,
It's something to shoot for us.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
31 issues, Gary.
Wow.
Yeah. And she says it doesn't seem like much.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's a lot of work. How many hours a day that do you put into your work?
With everything else, because it's like I don't sit down and draw an issue like work on it all day. So I really try to shoot for like 3 hours worth of work just on the comic book work, because I pretty much do everything else too. I do the websites, I maintain the social media, I do the I put together the files, and there's always like other maintenance type work to do. So about that, right, Gary?
You're just starting to get a taste of that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you said, it always takes longer than you think it should. So it's like, so I at least try to get about 3 hours of work on the actual comic book a day, just to keep to keep that momentum.
Yeah.
Do you lose a lot of sleep?
And you'll be hearing more. Go ahead, Gary.
I'm sorry. Do you lose a lot of sleep when you're doing your work? I know.
I try not to. I try not to, because like if I burn the candle too much at both ends, then my hands literally stop working, and I have to spend 3 days soaking them. So yeah. Yeah.
Really, you tense up?
It's something happens. Yeah, and it's like, and I have to soak it, and I can't really do anything for 3 days. It's horrible. So I try to keep it from getting to that point.
So do you occasionally, if you're not watching, you get to that point and you go, oh,
yeah,
blast it, 3 days are gone.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like, really? Time to soak.
Oh, man, because I know when I'm working, I've got a large Cintiq here. Mm-hmm. And when I'm working real hard at the board, I can feel it, but I don't feel it in my hand. I feel it back in my shoulder because I'm working with my hand up.
Right.
And
No,
when that happens,
no,
that
it's all on
to
my
me,
wrist.
that's a lot of ibuprofen and a couple of
Yeah.
hours of rest, and then you have to get back to it. But,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like I have a friend where she had to stop working on comics completely because it's like the pain in her arms was so severe. She had to stop working on her comic.
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, she can't draw for like more than like, I don't know, like maybe like a half hour at most. And even
Wow.
then she has problems afterwards. She has like nerve damage.
Mm,
So, which is a shame because your stuff is gorgeous, you know.
yeah.
Hmm.
Your work looks wonderful too.
Oh, thank you.
And again, everybody, that's Daphne Lade. She is at talltalesonline.com. That is Tales with TAILS.
ILS, yeah.
Look that up. And it's House of Bob on Kickstarter.
Right. The link is at the website. So, and like I said, that one is, sorry, that one is yeah. I guess every time we talk about that, he has to give a warning sign that that's
I guess so. Not for kids.
Yeah, not for kids.
Nope.
Uh-huh.
All right. Fine. Thank you. Thanks, Daphne. I hope you stick around. Well, we
Yeah,
got a
sure,
couple
that's no
more
problem.
guests to bring in who
Uh-huh.
have been extremely patient waiting for us back in the green room.
Uh-huh.
Probably eating too many of the stale Cheetos.
Ha.
We're gonna bring Russ in next. Russ, how you doing?
Hi, good afternoon from the UK.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening.
Yeah.
We'd like to welcome everybody out there on Indie Volt Radio. If you're listening to us, this is the Sunday Funnies show. Gary, I'm gonna mute your mic again. Sorry, bud. This is the Sunday Funnies program where we talk about the more lighthearted and funny books. And Russ is here to talk about his book that features death.
Because we have all sorts here.
Yeah, it's a good death.
Tell
It's
us,
a good death.
tell us
Only
about
Death-
your book.
Only Death Can Save Us is Bronze Age inspired, so it is all ages. It's cosmic in its nature. It's got nods to creators like Kirby, Buscema, Lee,
All of those classic, great
Jim's-
old comics.
yeah, Stalin, that kind of thing. So so death is there. It's only Death Can Save Us, and that's because only he and his accompanying elementals can save us. Death is not the thing you think he is. He's actually a good guy. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are not here to destroy. They're part of the basics of creation, and you find out more about that in this cosmic story. But also, it's a journey, a hero's journey, because death is not all powerful, and he's up against a very bad guy, Satana, and his horde of demons. And along the way, he's joined by Chrissy, who's a human soul, and it's about their relationship as well as they become friends. And he softens, and she helps that happen.
Dude.
So it's an all round. So the reason I'm here on Sunday Funnies is because it is family entertainment. You could leave the book down and people would, kids would enjoy it. You wouldn't have any problem with it. It's romance, not sex. It's action, not violence. It's a hero's journey, not ideology. It's good, solid fun.
Do you have that up, Rob? No. There we go. Only Death Can Save Us on Indiegogo. The reason I wanted to have you on, Russ, not just to introduce everybody to you and your work, but the fact that this is one of those entertaining comics, set in the style of the 80s and 90s, and with those old, great, entertaining books. This is just solid entertainment. Even though, yes, you do feature death in the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. It's not a gritty, dark, ultra angst-ridden story.
No,
right?
Definitely not. No, I'm from a similar time as yourself. I love Bronze Age books, so I love old copies of Fantastic Four and Avengers, Captain Britain, Captain America, old X-Men, all that kind of stuff. And I as a young man, I definitely loved things like The Killing Joke and Watchmen and the deconstruction, but I didn't want all comics to be like that. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe the mainstream has missed a trick there, because everything's now cut up into young adult or into kids. And that means that you don't get the chance to talk to a broad audience. and also it does happen that the audience is spoken down to, and I got the opportunity to work on Doctor Who comics around 2015 for a younger audience, and the writers I worked with there never spoke down to the audience. They were always, talking up, and much like the experience I had as a kid, where I managed to get myself a vocabulary from comics. I went and looked in dictionaries to find out words. Stan Lee would often have Thor on speaking like Shakespeare in the Park, and it brought you on. It encouraged you to go and look things up.
Run that again, Rob, if you could.
So it's that broad audience and speaking to everybody, and also the most important thing is you can get a message across without preaching. Mm-hmm. You can have fun, action orientated stories where people can learn things from them simply by you telling a good story. Right.
Absolutely. Now, Russ, we're talking to Russ Leach. Anybody out there in our radio audience? And Russ, tell our audience more about yourself and what you've done.
Oh, right. Okay. I go back quite a way.
That's okay. You can give us the Cliff Notes version.
Okay. I managed to connect with Marvel in the mid-90s, but it didn't. The magic didn't happen for me back then. I was taken on by the new talent manager, and things just didn't happen. We were in another age back then, and it wasn't working for me. So I went off and had a career as an art director and designer, retail publishing, point of sale, all kinds of stuff. And I decided that after a business that I had set up came to a natural end in 2009, that I wanted to give illustration a go, because my passion was comics, always had been. In that time, I'd managed to do some storyboarding. And when I came back in 2010, I kind of went off into freelance illustration, looking for gigs in comic books. And I managed to do some, I set myself up so that I could take lower paying jobs by selling up my house, basically, and getting a smaller one. So I had a very supportive family. And that meant that I could take chances. I could go do stuff that I wouldn't necessarily have been able to afford to do previously. So I took up indie work as much as I could get. I've worked quite a bit substantially with Unstoppable Comics, who hail out of New York. That's JD Rosario, and they do incredibly diverse books. They're truly diverse books, more diverse than when Marvel got the idea. And they've been doing it for longer. Those guys were great to work with. I met a lot of people on the way. I managed to do a couple of graphic novels for Marcosia, some other bits and pieces, Aces Weekly with David Lloyd. And then I got the gig for Doctor Who in 2015. I did that for 2.5 years or so. Got a gig on Ben 10 magazine, so worked with Cartoon Network. And then also along that period, I worked for Marvel, where I did a book called Draw the Marvel Way, which is like an homage to the original How to Draw the Marvel Way book. But in every 2 weeks, they bring out a magazine where there were 2 tutorials in there and some tips. And I did one of the tutorials and the tips. I did that for 4 years. Cool. So I got to draw a lot of Marvel superheroes under license and under the editorial stewardship of Hachette and Marvel. And I came to a point where I started to realize that doing pages, I always wanted to be in the bullpen when I was a kid and work with the artists and Stan Lee. I realized that there wasn't a bullpen. It didn't work like that. I was doing gigs where I was getting paid by the page, but it didn't matter how good your last work was. It was all about the editors that you knew. And if a book was cancelled, that was it. You were cancelled. As far as work, so you didn't quite know where it was coming from. So I was doing some storyboarding last year. I'd worked with a company called Charisma on an online artificial intelligence comic book story system, which is looking quite fun. But that kind of paused because of the beer virus, and it gave me the opportunity to do this, which I'd already written the story for this 2 years ago, and I wanted to do my own book. I wanted to bring my own IP, and I wanted to bring back the style that I draw in, The inspiration being Bronze Age and some of the 90s work. So the bombastic energy of the 90s, hopefully, in my work, but also looking back at the craftsmanship and the draftsmanship of people like John, Sal Buscema, Ditko, all the old guys, and how much they made a difference to me. Sterenko, for instance, you don't see a lot of Sterenko in my art, but he made a huge difference, a huge inspiration to me. And just the way that they produced work there, but also though I've got 2000 AD in there and all kinds of other stuff. So I just wanted to bring that back and sort of simplify the storytelling and simplify the sometimes colors can be over the top nowadays, and sometimes there's too much detail. And if you look, it doesn't matter whether you're looking at Jim Lee's work or whether you're looking at John Buscema's work. It's not all. It's as a young man, I would see it's really detailed and try and put so much detail into my work, but it's actually an economy of line, and the economy of line put in the right place gives the impression of far more detail than it's actually in the art. And it helps the storytelling process because it encourages energy, it encourages dynamics in the story. And then of course you have the ability of these artists to see in a certain way and tell a story from a physical position, a three-dimensional position. And that seems to be getting a little bit lost in mainstream at the moment as well. There seems to be far too many shortcuts from what I can see, and they're too tempting not to use. There's nothing wrong with using tools and shortcuts, but if you rely on them, then you lose the dynamics of sequential storytelling. So I wanted to focus on that. That's what my art's all about. It's what I'm all about. And so that's the way I went.
I like the page that we're looking at now, the splash page for Only Death Can Save Us, Book 1, Keystone. You see like that dynamic draftsmanship, the positioning of the main characters reminds me a lot of John Buscema. A lot of your design work on these characters looks like a combination of Buscema and Kirby. The girl warrior behind her, or behind Death, looks very Kirby influenced. Very much like the old Thor material. And yet your line work is crisp and thick. Stark is not the word that I would use here, but I see a little bit of influence of like a Dave Gibbons style, where he also had an economy of line and just a bold, fantastic look to his stuff.
I would say Dave Gibbons is right up there, yes, and Joe Sinnott.
Yes, very much so.
What I like about the work that I've been seeing, one, it's art goals. I mean, it is so clean and crisp and clear, and it's like, but it's cartoony, so it's like it's completely up my alley, and it's like, it's like this is art goals for me, right? But also what I really liked, especially about that I guess like that page with all the characters on it, is the fact that it has so much going on in the panel, but nothing is lost. It's like it's fun. You mentioned like the old Image comics, the Jim Lees and stuff, and it's like, I mean, I got caught up in that too, where it's like if you put lines everywhere, it means that it's more detailed. But this is more the proper way to do it. I mean, it's like, like you said, the economy of line, keeping it really crisp and clean, but it's cartoony, but there's a definite skill behind it. A lot of people sometimes like to dismiss cartooning as like, oh, that's like a lesser skill or a lesser art, but it's like, no, this is what we're talking about.
Thank you.
I was going to say exactly that. So many people have an idea of what cartoony is, and there's really a broad definition for that term.
Yeah.
Well, I've wrestled with my style for quite a while, as all artists do, I had so many inspirations, and so when I was young, I didn't like Jack Kirby, and I think a lot of artists say that. But I needed to be mature to really appreciate the genius that was going on.
Absolutely.
And it actually opened my mind to so many other artists. Like I love Mike Mignola.
That is not what I wanted to do. Sorry.
Why I like Mike Mignola is because it's so unique. He is unique. Nobody can do Mignola like Mignola does it. And so although I'm nothing like Mignola, he inspired that concept of being you. And I looked at so many different styles, and it gave me first off, it gave me the maturity to appreciate that just because I didn't like a style didn't mean it was bad. Right. It just meant that it wasn't necessarily up my street. But it also gave me the confidence to say, right, that style is wonderful. How does that guy do that? How does that girl do that? How does that artist create in that way? Yeah. And even though I really love it, it doesn't mean I have to put it into my style. You've got to stay honest with yourself and stay close to what you want to be, so that you can kind of jump just that little bit out of the crowd. Because there are so many artists, like I was doing, in the mid 90s, I was a Jim Lee clone. In fact, what I got accepted on was 8 pages of X-Men that effectively I tried to beat Jim Lee on, and nobody can beat Jim Lee. Jim Lee's fantastic. He's unique. He's what he is. There's plenty of cloning goes on, but you can tell when it's really Jim Lee. Right. And then I appreciate, as I got older and went further on, matured, I appreciated what really made me tick, what it really was that I wanted to be. And it took a while, but eventually I came to that current style where there is an element of realism. I'm very, very keen on things like musculature and anatomy, that they must be right. But the reasons that people like Buscema and Sterenko and what have you made the work so great was because they cheated. So I made sure I kind of understood the basics, that I got it right, and then tried to move on into that applying style over the rule set, as it were. And hopefully I'm getting to that point. I've got so much further to go, and I've got so much more to do. And hopefully people will come along on the journey with this book, because I plan to do lots of things with it.
And again, we are talking to Russ Leach. He is doing a book called Only Death Can Save Us that is currently available on Indiegogo. Is that right, Russ?
That's right. It's on Indiegogo at the moment. We're doing quite well. There's lots of great stuff there. You can pick out. There's a tier with posters in it, the featured tier, and it has a poster from me, but it also has 4 A4. They're like magazine size, so slightly bigger than US comic size, ink prints from 4 guest artists, which are absolutely stunning. All 4 artists have done an amazing job on that. And if I can tick over the total and get it to stretch goals, I've also got some ideas for. I've actually got 4 postcards ready to go. The first of which is the first stretch goal. But also things like patches for your jackets, UV spot on the front cover, all that kind of stuff. But that depends on just how much I can encourage people to back me and come along with me.
I hear you. Yeah. Rob, can you scroll up on that page?
On there we
go.
On there, you can also see on my YouTube channel as well. I catalogued my production, and I keep at the moment while I'm inking, I'm putting up screen captures once a week, so you can see a panel come together and see how the work is progressing.
Absolutely. Cool. Rob, scroll up, please.
Yeah. Also, another thing about this, which is striking, aside from the artwork, of course, is the way it's colored. Like, I just love the use of flat color and very limited palettes. Because like nowadays it's like everybody wants to I guess do the equivalent of airbrushing the crap out of everything. and this is just just very striking, and it's striking. It's in its simplicity. Oh, and by the way, thank you for putting in the amount of pages you have.
Yes.
Because we were having a discussion last night about weird Kickstarters that never tell the audience how many pages anything
Oh,
is.
no,
So-
no. I wanted to be completely upfront about what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
60 pages of story, 20 pages of additional content. So it'd be like character galleries, concept work, that kind of stuff. It says 80 plus. It will be plus 80. I think it's going to be closer to 90.
Right.
So I wanted to be upfront about that so people could see what they were getting.
Right.
And yeah, as far as the colors are concerned, like I was saying, I was talking about Mike Mignola, the Hellboy books. I saw that you could do that in a modern situation, and people would accept it and enjoy it. And also, obviously, it's a throwback to the way colors used to be, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of the two things to give hopefully a style that sits out, that sticks out from other things, because there is a lot of airbrushing going on at the moment. The front cover there is by Mike Summers, who I work with on Unstoppable Comics, and he's got a bit more of a classic sort of look to it, modern I suppose look to it. But I wanted to do that for the front cover, but the internals I wanted to give it that bright fun feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And for our radio listening audience, we are talking to Russ Leach, who has an Indiegogo campaign running right now called Only Death Can Save Us. Please look that up and buy in if you can. It's an incredibly professional looking book, and he's not quite gotten halfway yet to your fixed goal.
No, I'm just so pleased and thankful for all the people that have backed so far, and for people like yourselves, putting me on shows and on streams, being very kind with your time. It's a wonderful time to be making comics, and there are some truly brilliant people out there. There's some great creators, and people like yourself putting this kind of show on is fantastic. It's generous of your time, it's generous of yourselves, but it's just so good for the indie environment. The mainstream comics. You can't say mainstream comics are dead. That's rubbish. Of course, they're not dead. But I think they've lost their way. I think because of the way the corporate world is, I don't think there are necessarily enough people in mainstream comics who are there just for comics. It's my personal opinion. I just don't think the passion is there. There are passionate creators in mainstream comics. There are some great creators, but it's like it's not comics for comics' sake,
right?
And I think that's what indie creators are. They're comics for comics' sake. None of us are here to sell a lunchbox or to make a movie out of it or to put it onto the TV, onto Netflix. Okay, if that happens, great. None of us are silly. We're all going to take the money.
Sure.
but that's not what we're here for. We're here to tell stories, and we believe in comics as a medium. And I think not just as entertainment, but as education, that it's a unique way of telling stories and getting ideas across and communicating, which is what storytelling is all about. And the indie world is really fizzing at the moment. It's bubbling with so much creativity and energy. And it's a place to be, and things like this are great. So yeah, so thankful for all those people that have backed, but do keep coming back and backing more, obviously, because I want to get to that goal and I want to publish this book, and I want to keep doing it. So if people are coming along for the journey, it makes them a partner. It doesn't make them a fan. Right. It makes them a partner in it because they're being part of that production and seeing the book through to fruition and buying it from me. They're giving a little bit of their time, their life to me for a piece of entertainment. So if they believe in me, that's a really special thing. So thanks to everybody for doing so much, for supporting and helping out.
Well, we're real happy to have you on, Russ, anytime. In fact, we want to keep following your campaign and keep encouraging people to take a look at it and buy in if they can, be a part of it. Just looking at it, you can tell it's going to be an excellent book, great read, very entertaining, and a lot of fun to have. And that's part of what we want to do here on Sunday Funnies is push that entertainment and more. Even though your book's about death, to push the more lighthearted and more fun part of comics.
It's not about death. It's about death.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's just fun action comics that there doesn't, just because things are fun doesn't mean you can't have lessons, you can't have thoughtful provocative points.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you can't get something out of it that isn't just the face story.
Yes.
You know what it is on the face of it, and that's maybe something else that mainstream are doing, is that they're just hitting the nail too hard. You know, 80s comics had lots of messaging in them, and they were always done superbly well. Well, most of them were done superbly well, and certainly as a kid, I never felt like I was being preached to, but I did learn lots. So
absolutely.
I think Gary raised his hand. Did you? Oh yeah, he's raising. Yeah.
Gary, give me a second. There we go. Gary, go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah, I must say I love your style.
Thank you.
I love the 80s and the early 90s. You know, comics in the 70s. You know, you really captured that very well, and it looks great. I'll back you.
Thank you. I didn't get a chance because obviously you were on before me, but that cover looked brilliant. The cover you did with the first cover you showed up with the action going on where they were all sort of jumping on each other. That was really good stuff. You got a great artist there.
Oh, thank you. That's actually the cover's done by Sam.
All right, excellent. So I was looking for you on Facebook, actually, Gary. So
I'm on Facebook. The Pyramid Knights and my name.
Gary. Right. Okay. I'll check it out.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all.
And
absolutely, he's being real patient. Deeply appreciate it. And before we bring him on, let's run through the chat real quick and catch up, because I've really fallen behind. Jay's Earl says Pyramid Knights could make a great cartoon. Gary, a great cartoon. Meredith,
that's awesome.
Meredith says, good morning, Sunday Funnies gang. Good morning, Meredith.
Good morning.
Marv made it home. Hello, Marv.
Morning.
Hope you're doing well. It has an Ancient Aliens vibe. I'm sure he's talking about the Pyramid Knights on that. Smoke Alarm Bird. Yes. Yep. Always. Fright Owl Radio Theater says, aha, I was wondering who had the bird.
He's right here. He's somewhere. Yeah. He's somewhere in this area.
Lost my place. Oh no. There it is. Glenn B. Fleming joins us. Good morning, guys. I'm a little late. Well, good morning, Glenn. Anytime's a good time. So Meredith says, good morning, Marvy. I always fail on that name. Jameis says that's a fun lead-in. Marvy says, hey, Meredith. Everybody's talking back and forth in chat. Bronze Age is back, and Russ is a great ambassador.
Thank you.
Glenn B says, nothing is wasted. Space or art. Lovely composition. John Celestri says, cartooning keeps it simple but direct. Yep. Glenn says, in my opinion, Russ hand lettering would have really made those pages look like the old stuff. I'm biased, but he loves hand lettering. Marv says, well said, Russ. We have a link in the chat for Russ's work. Meredith says, I'm working on my first comic book, and I love the process of getting educated on the industry. I cannot wait to have my first book in hand. And it literally changes everything. Wouldn't you say, Gary? Once you get that first book in your hand?
Yeah, like potato chips. You can't just have one.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're doing 31, and you think it's nothing.
When you open that box and you see your first comic that you actually have printed and published, it's the greatest feeling ever. There's nothing like it. So.
Marv says, yeah, Meredith, can't wait to have mine too. Glenn, let me mute you again. Sorry about your clicking mic there. Yeah, Meredith, can't wait to have mine too. I'm going to party all day and rock all night.
Yeah, just remember that then you have to do the next issue.
Absolutely.
You have to do it all over again.
It's a constant cycle. Finally, Rahil, sorry. I'm so glad you were patient and waiting for us.
Well, I got nowhere
Last
to
but
go.
especially not least, I'm going to bring in Rahil. What?
I got nowhere to go. I mean,
Go ahead.
I can't go anywhere.
Oh, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
All right. Rahil, tell the audience about yourself.
Hi, my name's Rahil Mohsen. I'm an
Where to
artist.
start at the beginning.
Yep. I'm an artist from India. I've been making comics for over 8 years now. Started off pretty small in an Indian publishing house where I made 3 graphic novels. Then started collaborating with these really lovely folks I found on the internet, which is how I met Rob, along with other artists and creators. I have. I'm sorry.
You don't know. I'm sorry. You don't know Rob well enough to call him really lovely.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm working on.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I'm working on another book with Rob, so I think, I think I got him pretty figured out. But yeah, so
okay.
I've self-published over 4-5 books. I'm currently working on the second issue of Cat Dad and Supermom with Rob Anderson. Most of the works that you see on screen are apart from that, I've been working with a mental health awareness group called DLC, which is the short form for Dean Life Coach. And I keep churning out comics that would help educate people around around mental health awareness. So I'm doing that, and apart from that, I have an allegorical comic strip which I call Fromp. Fromp is again the acronym for Fantastical Rants of a Millennial Pip. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I again, if I am to go a little further back, I'm an animation student. I had studied animation, and which is where I sort of rediscovered my love for comics. Wrote a thesis on the future of comics in India. And then I started working as a part-time art teacher in a school, and so I've just been connected with art in some way or the other throughout my life.
It's amazing work.
Thank you.
Cool.
It's incredibly exuberant. Like there's so much joy in the line work that it's like I can't help but I can't help but smile looking at it. It's.
You should actually look at my darker work.
Yeah, which I'm sure.
I mean, I haven't uploaded them on the portfolio because currently I'm not in the headspace, but I do have a few strips that I'm working on right now, which I can probably screen share afterwards.
Rob, click on the page next to the big sleep there, the duo shade one. It looks like it's done in Greytown. Let's take a look at that. That looks awesome.
So, that's a page from a collaboration for an anthology called the Edgar Allan Poe Chronicles, and this was done in collaboration with a writer named Edward Headington. Eddie and I collaborate on quite a few. Have collaborated on quite a few projects earlier on, and this was an adaptation. This was adapted from an H.P. Lovecraft story. Yeah. Gosh,
you see so many artists that handle like Lovecraft and Poe and can be very oppressive, almost too dark. And your material here is incredible. Your use of yellows, your contrasting and lights and darks is just fantastic.
No, thanks so much. I'm sure there are a lot of other pictures also in this because this particular story takes place in 2 different worlds. One is a fantasy world and the other is the normal world that we're living in right now. It's about this.
You show such an amazing range to be able to go from that over to Cat Dad and Supermom.
Oh, thank you.
which I'm sure Rob is about to pull up. Just takes a second for it to kick over. What time is it right now where you are? Raheel?
It's 7:40 in the evening.
In the evening.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. That was sweet. Right now we're looking at Cat Dad and Supermom and Elefart Never Forgets. That's currently in demand on Indiegogo. That's Cat Dad and Supermom that someone named Rob Anderson wrote. That Raheel did the great art on.
It's Robert Gregory who wrote that, for the record.
Oh, Robert Gregory. So sorry. Looks amazingly like you, Rob.
Oh, hey, Gary's holding a copy of Cat.
I won't doubt he's a good looking.
Yeah, Gary's got it. Go ahead, Gary. Oh, you had it. There it is.
Yeah.
It's upside down, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Well, talking about Cat Dad and Supermom,
Yes, sir.
I'd love to show the kind of promo material that went into promoting Cat Dad and Supermom for Comic-Con India. I don't think even Rob has seen this, but I'd love to share an animated video trailer that I'd made of for the first issue.
Oh, yeah. If you can.
Yeah, you have it at the bottom. Just says screen share.
Yeah, I'll just have to screen. It's
If
all
you can't get
there.
If you can't get to
Mm-hmm.
Rob, I think you're cutting out, Rob.
Oh, can you hear me?
No, you're crackling in and out. Go ahead.
I was saying, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I was saying, Raheel, if you can't get it up, I can put it through mine. So you can just, oh, there it goes. He's got it. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Anyway, this is just something that I'm working on right now. One of the pages from Cat Dad and Supermom. I was just doing some color testing. Gosh. Okay, yeah, there you go. That's Cat Dad and Supermom. This was the Indian cover page. So this cover page is available only for the Indian, exclusively for the Indian audiences. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to share, play the video that me and a mate of mine had made.
Go ahead.
All right. There you go. Whoa! Yay!
Yeah.
There you go, guys. A little background: the music was given by a friend of mine. So we've got a really cool rock scene going on over here in India, in the city where I'm from, in Bangalore. And this guy's been in the scene for over, I think, 10 to 12 years. So he was more than happy to just share his music to play with, along with the trailer.
Cool.
That's badass. But you should reach out to Varian about trying to get them on Indie Volt Radio.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. That music was awesome. I'm rocking my head back here. You can't see it because Jackson's in the room. But rocking along with the video.
Yeah, I'm going to share the SoundCloud link with you soon.
What was that rabbit panel that kind of like that you kind of had on your screen for a split second?
Oh yeah.
What was that?
Darker word that I was talking about.
It's like that. That's like the official mascot of 2020.
There we go. Yeah.
Sure is.
I mean that's a T-shirt right there.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And for those who are fans of Cat Dad and Supermom, and Raheel doesn't mention this, he's the creator of our big character who introduces the story to us. Do you want to talk about that, Raheel?
The narrator. Let me just probably I'll pull up a graphic so it'll be easier for me to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Gosh. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this character. He's the narrator, and around 2 years back, I think I was in a completely different headspace where I really wanted to do a character that kind of breaks the fourth wall and sort of introduces the entire story, sort of like a host for the story. So I just created this this superhero named the narrator, as you can see, and his job is to kind of sort of give a background on give a sort of a premise to the story. I mean, in this page, what he does is he actually talks about how. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, narrator kind of gives a premise and sort of a background of what Cat Dad and Supermom is all about, the origin story of the superheroes, and there's Potato Butt. But then the amazing, I think. Well, I think Rob should actually talk to me to talk more about Cat Dad and Supermom and how these are the characters are a result of Jax's imagination. So I think Rob would be the right person to talk about it more than me. I mean, I'm just the guy who makes the pretty pictures.
I'll be honest, as someone who has to argue with Raheel every so often, he is very passionate about this project. He will fight for his ideas, and I love it. I love that an artist is so connected to these characters that he loves them, he wants to talk about them, and he wants to push for the best thing. And you want that in a partnership where someone's like, no, I can do better. And a lot of times I go, show me what you got, and it's been wonderful. I mean, the way he thinks of Potato Butt, even our new characters, the way that we have this big new character, and he's making this character come to life. I can't, as a writer, there is nothing more beautiful than the moment an artist brings someone to life for you that was stuck in your imagination, and they do a better job than you ever saw the character. And that's what Raheel does. He's one of the most passionate creators out there. All of his work is good. Everything.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Everything he shows me is great. He puts things up on social media, and I even yell at him. I'm like, why didn't you tell me it was there? I would promote it. Let me get behind it, because I love the work he does. And he does crisp, solid, continuous work. I never have to talk to him about quality. Quality has never been an issue with him. If anything, I have to look and go, hey, slow down. You're making my writing look bad. But he
does. That means a lot. I mean, thanks so much, Rob.
That's just the truth. It's easy to tell the truth, and you make it so easy to sound good about the truth, because we need more creators like you. And it's not just Cat Dad that he's doing, and you can see some of the stuff that we have coming up in the next issue is just beautiful work. Like
this is one of the pages from issue 2, the first page. I don't think I shared it with Rob earlier, so.
I'm seeing it. I'm loving it. It's always this amazing moment in my week when I see new art. And I'm like I have to take a minute and just sit there and go, wow, I'm part of this. It's hard to tell myself. When I got the first Cat Dad book, I kept looking at my name and going, do I belong on this book? Is this really a book? I told everyone, it's funny, since I've worked with him, I feel like I have to have a higher standard. No kidding. I feel like I've put out this book that is pure. I'm not going to put words other than quality. It's a quality book that can sit on any shelf and be compared to any other book out there. beyond a shadow of a doubt. So now I feel like I have to live up to that with every book that comes after it. And I've even had problems this year where I've called off projects because it didn't meet that quality. So Rahil's the kind of artist, once you work with, you've raised your game, and now you never want to go backwards. And I love working with Rahil. Rahil's one of the best artists out there. And it's just not my work that he does. I mean, the work you did on the Big Sheep, right?
Oh yeah.
It was amazing work. Like and like Randy was talking about it, the way he can go between color palettes, and it's like, this can't be the same artist, and it is. It's the same artist doing all, because you usually see someone who has a style and that's all they can really do well. He can go anywhere he wants. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Jim Lee stuff come from him in a few months just because he decides to change his style again.
Oh man, I wouldn't go that far, but man, that really means a lot. I mean, I'm about to shed some tears right now, but I'm just holding back.
Well, and this style, especially for the type of work that Cat Dad and Supermom is, just fits like a hand in a glove. It's just amazing work, and it really speaks to animation, and to see it animated is just incredible.
It's Cartoon Network on the page.
There you go.
It's brilliant.
Oh yeah,
Brilliant.
man, that means a lot. Thank you so much.
Do you do all your work digitally, or do you have like hand drawn element? Well, I mean, hand drawn, but on the computer or on paper. What's most of the technique that you use for your artwork?
When I started off, I used to make sketches on paper all the time, but now that I've completely shifted to digital, to the digital platform, which was again, like, I think only 2 years back, everything started, just shifted to the onto the monitor and not on paper anymore. It's only because, I mean, it's not that I don't like my hands getting dirty, but then I just want to be as productive and as fast as possible.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes it. Yeah, because like when you're not spending time cleaning up, that's time you could be using actually working.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jax came over and he saw the art and he wanted to say hi to Rahil because he sees Rahil every so often when we're on the video meetings.
We're good. Okay.
All right.
Looks good. It looks great. Wait a minute. Gary wants to say something. Give me a second here, Gary. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love the style of it. It looks like something from Nickelodeon, like when I used to watch all the
thank you so much,
kids and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really great. It looks good.
In fact, Jameis says someone really like his Nicktoons.
Oh yeah, I love him.
You can see a lot of just awesome animation influence there.
Yeah,
Tommy,
I mean,
go ahead.
Just like Russ, who tries to get his 70s and 80s influence in his comics. I mean, this is the kind of aesthetic that I grew up on. I'm born in the 90s, and I grew up watching all of these Cartoon Network shows, and Nickelodeon when they were in their heydays. So I mean, in India we used to watch shows like Jimmy Neutron, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents a lot. So I think that kind of helped me grow, sort of like, develop this aesthetic and make it, sort of work in my work. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Looks great.
You can see the Fairly Odd Parents in there, definitely.
Yeah.
It's hard to do this kind of stuff. A lot of artists will look at this kind of work and not be appreciative of it. As I said earlier, I did a run on Ben 10 on the reboot, and it's hard work. You still have to have all the same basics. You still have to have that understanding of sequential storytelling, of anatomy. I mean, it might all be like rubber hose in some places as far as limbs are concerned, but you still have to convince the eye. You still have to make it work for the reader, and there's so much talent and effort in this. It's brilliant.
Oh, thanks so much, Russ. I mean, yeah, it means a lot.
Rob, any projection on the completion date for Cat Dad Supermom 2?
Oh, geez.
That's more on Raheel. The story's done. He's got most of it done. Honestly,
Okay.
we're just covering at this point. We're looking to kickstart in October.
Sweet.
So no pressure on Raheel, of course, but we're looking for an October date.
All right, man.
We're not going to rush something like this. Like, I'm willing to wait until it's done. And I've told Raheel that there's never going to be pressure to get a book done. It's about getting it done right, getting out the quality, because I don't want to ever have him come to me and go, I really felt like I could have done 2 pages better, but you said get it out. And that's not who I am as a creator. I will delay to make sure it's the best, especially this year. Everyone's got to be more patient this year. We were all dealing with stuff, like Raheel had told us at the beginning, that he's actually had some family loss over this. So I had my mom pass away, and he was very gracious when I had to step away and deal with my mom in the hospital, and he understood. So it's 2020, baby. What do you expect? Like we're gonna get done. There will be a second issue. You guys can see it. We've already had the script out to people. People love it. So I mean, if it's not October, we'll probably delay it until January, maybe February of 2021, and do it right. Get past the holiday season. But it's coming out. You guys are gonna get the second issue.
I mean, that's very generous of you, Rob. But I mean, I've got to finish Cat Dad and Supermom as soon as possible right now, because the headspace that I'm in right now is where I'm concentrating more on my writing. And because there are so many things happening within my country, I just feel like I'm just missing out on a lot of content, and I really want to take as much as possible and get a creative output out of whatever we're going through right now. So yeah, I mean, October is my internal deadline as well. So let's see.
And then, of course, I'll start bothering him about issue number 3.
I'm looking forward to
it. Before it's even funded, I'm going to be, so what do you want to do for issue number 3?
Raheel, I can't tell you how happy we are to have you on the show. It's nice to actually meet you. I've loved your work ever since Rob sent me your book. It's just amazing, just phenomenal stuff. We're glad you were able to take the time to be with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me over. I mean,
anytime, and I hopefully we'll have you on a lot more often.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And right now, also sitting back in the green room, being very patient, John, the animator, John Celestri. John, how are you doing?
Hey, John.
I'm doing fine. Hi, guys. Hi, good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Yeah. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Various time zones here.
I wanted to make sure that I brought you on to talk about your campaign as well, just to let folks know in case they haven't seen it, in case they haven't looked it over. But first, before we get to that, let me catch up here in the chat. Kami3, Mark says, hail Indie Volt, hail the panel, hail the chat. He's hailing a lot today. Hail the mods, hail Kami3 Mark, hail spam, even hail spam. It says, I was literally asking if we have any Indian indie creators just today. They are out there. And you're going to see Indie Volt get a lot more international as we go along, especially in our morning programs, because we can catch these folks like Rush and Raheel in the evening or early afternoon. So stay tuned to indievolt.com or better still, if you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, definitely hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, because you never know when we can come on. Usually around the 9s is when we do Eastern Standard Time. So, and we're happy to show these folks off doing phenomenal work. Where is Samir from?
He's from Pakistan, apparently. It's just somebody we were speaking to the other day. When I was speaking to Kami Mark, because I was looking at where creators were coming from, much like Mark was interested in, to see just the wide variety of people that are getting involved.
Yeah, yep. Glenn says, "Wow, great work, Raheel."
Thanks, Glenn.
It's apparently from Pakistan, yes. And okay, John, you said cool. Marvi says, lots of my buddies at work are from India. They are going to love this. It's a great book, Marvi. Meredith says, Rob, what was this about having $100 on IGG? Are the earnings reflected from Kickstarter?
Real quick, I didn't know this. When you go on demand, you have to earn before you get paid, you have to earn your first $100. So I wasn't even paying attention, and I started promoting it because 2020. It's on demand, and then all of a sudden someone had told me, "Hey, Rob, you got to get like $100 before they pay you." And this is how bad I am sometimes with that, because I was working on the second issue when we just left it on demand. Suddenly I realized you have to make $100. So I'm always using it more as promotion, but yeah, we're on Indiegogo right now. So help me get over that $100 hump. But yeah, we've earned more money. The big thing, and Raheel knows this, we got Project We Love from Kickstarter. That's something that we just amazingly have the rest of our lives.
You should explain to the radio audience what a Project We Love is.
Basically, they go around and they hand out to the projects that they think are making the biggest noise or the most popular very often. But we were chosen for quality. Like, the book was chosen as a quality piece. And it was funny because I didn't realize we had it. We suddenly got all these backers. And I'm like, wow, I guess my promotion strategy is working. It turned out we were a Project We Love on the main page and all that. And I had a friend go, yeah, it was there for like 3 days on the main page. No one told you? I'm like, no one told me my own news. Because I'm the one reporting the news. But yeah, Project You Love, it's a very rare thing. People like strive. I know many creators out there who've raised like 80 grand who have not gotten a project they love yet. So it matters. And like, I was so proud of it. I couldn't wait to talk to Raheel about it. And Chuck, who's a part of our team, he's the editor. Just amazing moment. You get to keep that the rest of your life. No matter what happens, that's an award, basically, or a stamp of approval of the amazing work of Raheel. Because they didn't even really read my book. That was more on him. We got Project We Love because of him and his art.
Meredith says, awesome. It was a very fun video, Raheel.
Oh, stop it, Rob.
That's the truth.
Marv says, that's why indie is so awesome-tacular. Originality and passion. Jameis says, someone really likes his Nicktoons. We already covered that. Marv says, India and USA. How is it? How it was possible? How did you two find each other? And oh yeah, there you are.
Well, we found each other online because there was no other way for us to do it. So
yeah, Facebook. Yeah. Facebook. We knew each other before we worked together, and I remember Raheel's one day is like, "Oh, I'd like to work with you on something." We did a quick page.
I think a bit of a background would be I was putting up this anthology together called Blame It on Raheel, which is a collection.
Hang on, just a second, Raheel. Let me enlarge you there. Go ahead, show it now.
Yeah, so back in I think 3 years back, I was working on an anthology. I was putting together an anthology called Blame It on Raheel, and I mean, this is a collection of all of these short stories that I had worked on over a course of. There you go. You see Supermom and Cat Dad here. So while I was putting up this anthology, that was when I picked up. I got in touch with Rob Anderson, and. So it just happened. We made a 2-page strip, and then Rob gets in touch with me, and he's like, "Hey, I've got an issue, 1 story. Do you want to discuss?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And anyway, so this is some other work from Blame It on Raheel, and I think the first comic that that Rob was showing from my website was this, and Mesmeric Revelation is on it. I don't really know how clean
we go.
How clear it is, but
yeah, looks great. Is there anywhere we can get a hold of that book?
It's available on Amazon India. I haven't started shipping. I haven't started offshore shipping, so overseas shipping, but it's available to read in India.
Might be something to talk to Rob about.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we'll try to get it in the U.S. Yeah, definitely. We could try to get it through Terraform and have Terraform be the distributor up here in the States.
Yeah.
Once there's Comic Cons again here in America.
Yeah.
We definitely try to ramp up. It's been one of those years without Comic Cons. We really haven't talked about that side of it. But you should also think about making a follow-up to it the next year. and doing it as a Kickstarter yourself? I know you don't have Kickstarter in India, right? It's only Indiegogo.
Yeah, we have Indiegogo here. I haven't really tried out any Kickstarter, any crowdfunding campaigns as of yet. I mean, most of the projects that I've done to date, including the animated trailer, were actually I put the money that I get to good use. So all the money that I get from comics goes back into comics. So yeah.
Sarah says Rahul is amazing. Meredith says, I used to draw a bouncing ball in the corner of my notebooks to animate it. Does that count?
Sure does.
Yes, it does.
Fright Owl Radio Theater, love your work. Also says Meredith Lagren, yes, most of my school books had stickman figure animation in the corners. I was fascinated by that. And again, Indie Volt has that Supermom and Cat Dad link in the chat. Please feel free to go there and use it. Fright Owl Radio Theater says, thank you, Raheel. Mark says, Raheel, are you on Twitter? Raheel, are you on Twitter at all?
Yes, I am, but I don't really use Twitter as much. I mean, Twitter is basically just this one platform where I dump my Instagram work. I just retweet my Instagram work and just let it be out there. Yeah, that's one app that I have, but then I don't really like. I make a conscious effort to stay away from it. So, yeah.
Good call.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Tolliver says, hello, Indie Volt. Good morning. Good morning, Joe. Good morning. You're
good morning.
We're a little bit through the show already, but you can always catch up with us afterwards at YouTube and indievolt.com. Love the education on this show. Great work, Raheel.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And we want to thank everybody in the chat. And once again, that's Cat Dad and Supermom. That's available on Indiegogo on demand. Please go over there, take a good look at it. Raheel's work is amazing. Rob's work is fantastic. It's a fantastic story about an elephant who farts. And it's an all ages story, and it's a great story to read to your kids. I have a copy sequestered away for my grandkids that I'm going to be real happy to give to them as soon as they're going to be able to handle a book without mangling a book. Also here on our pardon?
I said fingers crossed.
Also here on our show today, we have John Celestri. John, how you doing? John, the animator?
Yes, I'm doing fine. How you doing, Randy? Everybody else?
I'm doing good. Introduce yourself to our radio and listening audience.
Okay,
John.
I'm John Celestri. I've been an animator for the last 45 years, doing animation, classic animation, and comic book work. I animated Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special and many of the other cartoon shows of the 1970s and 80s, like He-Man and She-Ra. And also on Don Bluth's Dragon's Lair and Space Ace video games. So that's my background. And but I've got a Indiegogo campaign now. I've turned my talents and experience to creating my own characters for a line of all ages comics aimed at young kids and reawakening an adult's inner child. So it's aimed at I consider it that it's an entryway of comics readership that has been lost because today, the entry level is about between 13 and 15 years old. I'm aiming at what I call the seedlings, kids between 4 and 12 years old. And so I've got 2 series, and I divvy them up from ages 4 to 7 with my Snuffy and Zoe's Toy Box Adventures. And then Nikki Nardson's Mega Moose Comics is for ages 8 to 12. Snuffy and Zoe, they're sibling bears who, when they're bored, jump into their magic toy box and have outlandish adventures like stealing cupcakes from a dragon or getting captured by pirates made out of colored balloons. And then Mega Moose, he's Nikki Nardson is a a bullied nerd who is magically given extraordinary powers. With a wave of a magic feather, Nicky can change into a minotaur type being with all the powers of the animal kingdom. And series is aimed at youngsters dealing with surviving elementary and middle school society. So that's what I have right now. I've got 5 books, 2 Snuffy and Zoe's, and a drawing book, coloring book that goes along with each of those books. And then I've got Mega Moose. I've got I include an ash can edition, which is basically all the drawings that I used to create, in pencil for the finished book. So you'll see what my thought process was to come up with the drawings. So, and I've got several tiers, and the top tier, and if you can see here, includes a hand-drawn Boba Fett sketch, full size. Like so, yeah.
Give me just a second, John. Let me pull that up here. There we go. There we go.
Yep, that's it. That's the size of the drawing. Be hand drawn each one. That's going to be that pose, but they'll all be original on animation paper and such. So that's my top tier.
Sweet. That is fantastic. Drop that down. And again, that is John the Animator Comics on Indiegogo.
Yep. And that's you can see the drawings. Everything is done. I just need the fundraising to do the printing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all ready. I'm getting samples for of what each book will be like, and it's all A4 size. It's like 8 1/4 by 11 3/4 inches. And
they're more magazine size than comic book size. Yeah.
Yep, and also on heavy stock paper, so that it'll all withstand handling. The drawings, the books are all between 24, 28 pages to 32 pages in length.
And on your packages here, you're not just ordering one book; you're getting a couple of books.
Each one you could see, you get the Snuffy and Zoe. Each one separately will still have the drawing, so there'd be 2 books in each package. With Mega Moose and that also includes the ash can. I've got several tiers. Sometimes you only want to have the 2 kids. If you've got two books, and so you got 2 books there. I have a thing with a perk where if you've got more than one artist that you want to give the drawing book and coloring book to, you can add another one as a perk. Then there's the different package. So all 5 books there, and then you've got the super duper mega pack, which includes the Boba Fett sketch.
Sweet, fantastic. So again, that's John the Animator Comics on Indiegogo. Take a look. It's a great package, especially a great package if you have kids. It's an all ages book, though, meant for everybody to read and enjoy. One of those old-fashioned fun comics.
Yeah,
and I meant old-fashioned only in the best of ways.
Yes, well, it's the kind of stuff that it's all for the entire family, which is how entertainment used to be in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Everybody could go to the same movie and see things. And same thing in reading material. In comic books, I grew up with Superman, and I picked up Superman when I was like 7 years old. I was watching Batman. I was reading Batman and copying stuff, but I also like the funny books. So with the animals, and that's the kind of thing that I find is missing as a general approach to kids under the age of 12. No one's cared about their material. Unless you're trying to, take a superhero character and shrink them down and make them a midget a tiny human adult, but it's still snarky. Here, this is like, innocent. There's whimsy and innocence in the material. I'm not talking about sugary innocence. I'm just talking about the innocence that children are before they have to deal with the dark side. So we don't need dark force fed to them. They see it every day.
Yeah.
It's as if you're talking about our show.
Yep.
So, John, thanks again for being on. Always a pleasure to have you on. We can't recommend this enough. I can't recommend this enough. I've already bought in, and recommend everybody take a look at it and buy in if you can as well. It's a great product. It looks really good. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to read it. Can't wait for my Boba Fett sketch.
Yes.
So there's definitely a frame and a place on my wall for that one.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
All right.
And we'll keep track of your campaign as you go along. You have how many days left there? 19 days left.
19 days,
yeah.
And I'm 46% of the way there.
So again, John the Animator Comics, fun comics for your inner child. Thanks again, John. I appreciate you coming on again. Always a pleasure to have you. And I think that's about it for today. Anything else that we need to cover, Rob?
I just want to give some love to John. He doesn't talk about it enough. 1980s, if you're a fan of He-Man or She-Ra, you need to bow to this man. He is such a huge part of your childhood. You have no idea. Russ has done such great work in all cartooning, what he's done. I love what he's bringing back. He's bringing back that energy we always talk about missing, and it's coming back. Thank you, Russ, for doing that. Daphne's fearlessly creating in both genres. It's very rare he's a creator. And I was talking to this about someone who's doing things for children and adults at the same time. And there's some shade being thrown on you for that. So it's not always wanting to walk. So that's really powerful. Gary's out there reinventing the story of the pyramids. Raheel, I would gush all day over you. You know that. Amazing creator. I appreciate him coming and spending time. I don't want him on these shows too much, though, because I want to make sure that he's out there finishing Cat Dead number 3.
Damn it, I forgot the tissues again.
You're gonna see a lot more Raheel on Indie Volt in the future. I promise you. Amazing work, Raheel.
And Randy for putting together a show that actually stops and realizes that we don't need to always be so serious. Like the Joker said, why so serious? That should be your opening. The very beginning of the show, why so serious?
No thanks. No thanks. We could come up with a more comedic, more fitting opening than the Joker. Thank you, though. Thank you.
But yeah, this is an amazing program. Here's Jax, the inspiration behind the Cat Dad and Supermom. So thank you all for being here. You're all amazing, and thank you for waiting and hanging out with us the whole day. We had such great guests, and great information to share with you all today.
John, let folks know how they can get a hold of you.
You can get me on Twitter at John Celestri at Celestri John, and you spell the name Celestri Celestri. I know there's like 55,000 different ways to pronounce it, to spell it, but that's the way it's spelled. And you can get me on Facebook. You could get me on at Indiegogo for now. So
look for the graphic with the guy with the handlebar mustache.
That's right. John the Animator Comics.
John the Animator Comics. Thanks again, John, for being on so much. Raheel, how can folks talk to you?
I'm available on Facebook and Instagram. If you're looking forward to reading my work on mental health awareness, I think you should actually give me a follow on follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Rahil_Mawson. For my other work, you can log on to my website, it's everywhere in all of the descriptions of my Facebook and other social media accounts.
For our listening audience, because we have a large radio listening audience, please spell out how to get a hold of you on Instagram.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is Rahil_Mohsin, RAHIL_MOHSIN.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Facebook, Twitter, any of that?
I mean, I'm mostly available on Instagram, so
There we go. Okay, fantastic. Thanks again so much for being on and showing off your work. Deeply appreciate you, and we look forward to hearing a lot more from you and the upcoming campaign. Again, the current campaign for that is Cat Dad and Supermom. That's available on demand on Indiegogo. So check that out. It's a great story. Russ, thanks for being on the show today.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for your patience and listening and just being here. Where that book looks amazing.
Thank you.
That's Death Shell. Oh, I'm sorry.
Only death can save us.
Only death.
That's fine. That's fine.
Only death can save us. I knew there was death there in the title. And before you go, I want to ask you personally, what Doctor Who work did you do?
I worked on Doctor Who Adventures, which is the kids magazine for Doctor Who. That's the way they like to brand it. Mm-hmm. And that ran for quite some time, but it moved publishers to Panini in 2015, and I did the last 2.5 years of it. The last one being a spring special with Jodie Whittaker in.
Sweet. Do you know if any of that material has been reprinted here in the States?
I'm afraid it hasn't. They're always keen to look at reprinting that stuff, but nothing's been done as yet.
Okay. And how
you can find out more of that on my website, and also I've got there are links on some of my YouTube videos as well if you want to download the inks and the story to have a go at colors yourself, or if you want to have a go at the story yourself as well.
And again, that's Russ Leach. Only Death Can Save Us on Indiegogo.
That's right. You can get me at russleach.com. That's RUSSLEACH, russleach.com. That's pretty much got all my links on there. You can also find me as Comic Book Black Belt on YouTube. You can pick up more information about my book. It's got its own website at onlydeathcansaveus.com. And of course, all three of those places have got links to go to the campaign over at Indiegogo. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Just look me up and I'll chat with anyone about comics and comic book art.
Fantastic. And again, that's a great, fantastic looking product. I look forward to buying into that.
Thank you.
And we'll be doing so shortly. Gary, how you doing?
Good. How you doing? I got you
Good.
guys iPad now instead of my phone.
Okay. How can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook, The Pyramid Knights, or my name, Gary Henderson. And I hope to have my website up in a couple of days, thepyramidknights.com. And I'm looking forward to doing a crowdfunding campaign or a Kickstarter campaign. And I have to give a shout out to my friend Chris, who does the Hero Shack Chronicles, which is also a podcast. I'll be on there Tuesday night talking about my book. I'll be there in person. And I'll ask you all to look that up on Facebook or on YouTube. And I'm writing down everyone's crowdfunding campaign or what you guys are doing now. So support all you guys, it's great to talk to other comic book creators and getting to know you guys and know that we all have something in common, something we're very passionate about. And this is a great time. And I thank you very much for having me on. This is awesome.
Gary, thank you so much for being on. Deeply appreciate you. We look forward to Pyramid Knights. We look forward to your next campaign. As soon as you get that together, you're going to have to let us know and come on.
Yeah.
And we have to give credit. Look how cool his sweater is.
Yeah.
That is merchandising right there. He's showing off his own work in a sweater. You have to have that hoodie available on Kickstarter now. It's just a thing.
All right. I will do that. Thanks.
Daphne, how can we find you?
Well, if you're into funny animal fantasy, You can check out the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free at talltalesonline.com. TAILS, Tales as in Tales, online.com. And I also have a YouTube channel featuring art tutorials, demos, and live streams sometimes at Daphne Lage Art. And I just want to thank everybody for pushing my YouTube channel over the 800 subscriber mark. So thank you very much for everybody.
And a well-timed bird on that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He always seems to have a great sense of timing.
Always waiting.
Rob and Jax, how can we get a hold of you?
You can find us on Indiegogo at Cat Dad and Superman. You'll find Jax eating the new orange Oreos. It's Halloween time. We're so excited. We're going to go to some Halloween stores locally. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. You can go to catdadandsupermom.com to keep up with all the updates that we have and all the information. Go ahead, show off your cookie. Show off your cookie. See?
Awesome cookie. Awesome cookie.
Soon.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. Again, I really want to thank our panel. I want to thank everybody that's on. Everything looks phenomenal. And thanks for being a part of the Sunday Funnies this morning. We are part of the Indie Volt Radio Network. We want to thank all of our radio listeners out there. I don't have our numbers in front of us. I hope you're out there listening. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you from all around the world. You can catch the Indie Volt radio program at indievolt.com. You can listen online through you can get an app on the Google Play Store. You can get it through Streama. And if you ask Alexa very nicely for indievolt.com or Indievolt Radio, she should be able to turn and tune over there for your listening pleasure. We also have Indievolt TV on your Roku channel, where we play all sorts of wrestling programs and movies of all types, as well as some of our video casts here streaming. You can always find us on YouTube at the Indie Volt channel. Please hit your like button. I believe we're over 510 now on that station. We really want to grow that out a little farther so that we can get to that magic 1,000 mark and start having to worry about hitting all the standards and practices that YouTube enforces. You can contact us at any time at IndieVolt Live at indievolt.com. Please include IndieVolt. Well, you don't have to include IndieVolt. Please include Sunday Funnies in your subject line when you address us. We are always open for your comments, your suggestions, especially in regards to this program. I'd love to hear back from you, any of you, as to how we are doing. Remember, our feedback will be better because of your setback. We also take problems and work on educating folks. Hashtag get an education. Hashtag IndieVolt. We also have a Tuesday night program at 9 p.m. Eastern, where we discuss the comic industry. We have Breakfast Buzz on Thursday morning with a slightly more lighthearted look, because none of us are really quite awake and we're all a little silly. Usually on Thursday mornings. Friday or Saturday nights, Rob has a program also on at 9 p.m. We have Geekgasm, that's comics from a more feminine, hopefully, perspective that the Indie Princess runs on Wednesday at 9 p.m. You were going to say something, Rob? No. Okay.
No, but just as a heads up, Geekgasm will be getting Meredith as a co-host, and will be temporarily taking over the program in a few weeks.
Right.
So you'll be seeing a transition of just the host, same show. We stress it'll be the same show. And I hear Daphne's being tapped for possibly a co-host position as Meredith has to take over because.
I'm talking to Meredith later on tonight, so we can.
I haven't talked to Daphne yet about it, but I'm also probably going to be gone next Sunday. So Meredith should be on with the help of Rob and Daphne. In order to continue the fun part of comics. We deeply appreciate all of you. Again, the comments as we're going out the door. Daphne loved the bird.
Oh, yeah.
Jameis says
they're rowdy today.
Marvi says, great guests as always. Thank you, Marvi. Always happy to hear from you. Stop getting fingerprints all over my sketch, John. Fright Owl Radio Theater says, Joe says, will do, brother. Wait a minute. That might be tied up a little farther above here. Joe Joe McPhee. Joe, thanks for listening in. Love the education on this show. Great work, Raheel. Always great work. Will do, brother. Enjoy your shows. Stop getting your fingerprints. Great guests as always. Thanks again, Marv. Glenn says another outstanding show. Thanks, guys. Fright Owl Radio Theater says bowing now. So that's always good to know. Marv says be safe, guys. See you soon. Jameis Daphne loved the bird. And as we all say, Marv, as Marv says, have a great Sunday. Have a great Sunday, everybody. We wish you well.
And Friday Owl, that bow was meant towards John. That was for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Here, I thought he was bowing for all of us, but that's okay.
Sorry, Randy.
No problem. No problem at all. Be with us next week when we have another great group of guests. I might not be here, probably won't be here, but I will be back the following Sunday to continue on this craziness. Remember, everybody, Keanu said it best when he said,
comics are awesome.
Comics are absolutely awesome. And we thank everybody for listening. Stay healthy, everyone. Take care. Any parting words from anyone?
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Stay safe. Stay healthy, everybody. We're going out
Go read comics.
and read comics. Yep,
Yeah.
going
Read
out
comics.
the same way we
Yeah.
came in. Wait a second here. Let me get rid of that comment here. Sorry. Just trying to stay coordinated.
Just stay safe.
Fried Owl
Yeah.
says mega bow. Yes, everybody
bow.
stay safe. Please stay safe. We'll see you next Sunday. Take care. See you soon. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was not the one. Not the one. Not the one. That's the one. We'll